Good afternoon, everyone. Ian Maddox, HMFP. Hope you're having a great end of summer. I know technically we've got another month and a half, but with the school year approaching rapidly, whether that affects grandkids, kids, maybe even you, it feels like fall is around the corner. And of course, that brings football, which we're all excited about. Wanted to connect with you very quickly. We're going to call this Transition Update 4.0. To kind of wrap this thing up. We're on the tail end of our transition, and I wanted to give you a few pieces of information in that regard. So last Sunday, both Richard and I flew down to Tampa, Florida, and were able to participate in IFP's, that's Independent Financial Partners, inaugural conference, we'll call it. They called it the Disrupt Conference, and I think the idea of disruption is that they're doing something unique in the financial services space, and I would agree with that. It was a good opportunity to connect with their founders, their partners, and really realign vision and kind of see where this thing is going forward. And if you didn't realize, IFP is not new to us. Some of you have seen their name on various documents. We've been connected with IFP since 2012. What's unique is that they have really kind of consolidated and launched their own broker-dealer and brought Pershing to the table as primary custodian, and that everything they're doing is about helping us as advisors be the best we can, which in turn allows us to serve you in the best capacity possible. So that's their goal, is to be a firm that supports us better, really, in many ways than any other organization that's out there. And so that makes us kind of proud to be a part of it. I know this has been a little bit of a drawn-out process. It always is when you make a big shift like this, and so we appreciate you and your diligence and sticking through the process. But let me give you a couple quick pieces of information to update you where we are. First of all, one thing that I did want to mention that I've not talked about a whole lot is that this alignment with Pershing, which is owned by Bank of New York Mellon. If you're not familiar with BNY Mellon, they are the largest custodian of assets on earth. I don't know the exact figure, somewhere around 23, 24 trillion that they are responsible for. The federal government actually has their bank accounts with BNY Mellon. So what does that mean? It means one simple thing is that we have access to a more traditional bank relationship. Things like mortgages, lines of credit, CDs, multiple trust departments, just to name a few that we can tap into. Many of those they're not forms of compensation for us. It's just another opportunity for us to provide service to you, something for you to look at, something for us to be able to bring to the table as we serve you in managing financial plans and even extending wealth management into future generations. So long story short, just keep in the back of your mind that we're now connected to a very large bank operation that brings some extra capabilities to the table. A couple weeks ago in Update 3.0, I mentioned text messaging being a system that we're going to roll out for communication, and that has begun. All clients have received an initial message explaining the process, and a bunch of you have received what's called my V card, which is contact information. You can save that into your phone. I've got another phase to roll out, and then Bonnie will begin the same process here very soon. The main way Bonnie will use that is a simple way, a very convenient way to schedule appointments with you all. And speaking of that, we have a bunch coming up. So between now and early September, a bunch of you are on the calendar already, and we'll continue to reach out to load that up. And I think this initial meeting is as much about answering questions on the transition, making sure that you understand the statements because they're different, same information presented a different way, accessing your accounts online, just making sure everything is fluid as possible. And so if you have those questions, jot them down. If it's something that's more urgent, always call. You don't have to wait for an account review to pick up the phone. So just give us a shout if there's something that you're not understanding, something that comes in the mail, etc. So that's the text messaging. Just a handful of accounts really on transition. We're pretty much done with the bulk of transition is in terms of bringing accounts over. That's pretty much done. There's still a process, a more of an administrative process of cleaning up cash flow, connecting annuities, 529, some things of that nature that we're still kind of cleaning up on the back end. So there may be a few more T's to cross and I's to dot, paperwork, maybe a few more documents that we have to sign, but the bulk of it, 95% of it, it's behind us, and so we're glad for that. Lastly, Logins, accessing your account. We've sent email and with a kind of text-based email with instructions, but I've also mentioned it in my previous video. I'm not going to go through it all again. You can go back and reference those, but please know if you're wanting to access your account, just give us a shout. We can help with that. We're about to get a data feed, so there's a few more dots we're trying to connect technologically. And one of the things that's going to be important, not just for logging into your accounts, but even for when we're looking at performance of an account, or we're tying that performance of a portfolio to a particular financial goal in the future, we're going to have continuity of information. So we're going to have to know how accounts have performed 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years back, depending on how long you've been a client. And we're going to be receiving a feed from LPL very soon that will connect that. So there'll be information that stems the transition, so we don't lose that old data, which is good. So that's coming as well. So we're getting there. Appreciate your guys' diligence and patience. It's always awesome to serve as your advisors, and look forward to connecting with you soon. Have a great evening. Ian Maddox, talk to you soon.